Okay, my friends. Sorry I'm a few minutes late, a little bit tardy. I was grabbing a bunch of stuff for you guys, and my ironwort tea wasn't ready yet. So, yes. Okay, guys. Welcome to the Saturday morning live stream here at the Garden Like a Viking headquarters in northern Indiana, zone 5/6/ a couple of years 4 maybe. Past couple of years, zone 7, doesn't even really matter. So, guys, let me know who's out there, where you're at, what the weather's like, what the season's like, where you're at. Let us know what you have in the ground. Let us know what you guys are planting, because people are finding it really helpful in the comments this year that, you guys are putting where you're at, and then like what zone, or in Pennsylvania or something, and then what you have just planted, when you planted it, stuff like that. People are liking that because for the beginners, timing is so important. When we are trying to grow the garden, the timing is super important. The fundamentals actually are the same. So a lot of people are like, well, I'm not going to watch your channel because I'm in the South, or I'm in the true North, Canada. So Northern Indiana doesn't apply to me. But guys, you're missing out on so much of the fundamentals. The only thing that's really different between zones is timing and a little bit techniques. But the fundamentals are the same. The soil food web, feed the life in the soil will feed you. All of that is still the same. Just your timing and a little bit the methodology will be different. So, okay guys, can you hear me all right? This microphone arm keeps going off onto the distance. Hold on. Okay. So let us see. Who is here? Let us see. Oh, you guys have been having a good old conversation. Good. Are You Prepping says, I'm looking forward to the live. I've learned so much from this channel. First garden, still picking tomatoes and green beans. Just dug up a few potatoes out of the grow bag. Home fries were to die for. Ooh, yes, definitely. It is time. All that stuff. The potatoes are ready to harvest. They're coming in. So we are, and I wanted to say something about that. We are we're about 3 weeks technically away from our first frost. And so now is sort of the time that you can be getting the potatoes out of the ground. You need to be getting the sweet potatoes out of the ground, curing them. So about 3 weeks before, the winter squash needs to be pretty much curing and stuff like that, because we don't want any of those to actually get a frost. So you have to plan for that. So right about now, you're going to be harvesting all kinds of stuff. Okay. I mean, it's harvest time. I know, it's crazy. Where did the whole season go? It's just crazy. Hello, Pam. Good to see you here. Let's see here. Pam says, a YouTuber shared the following. Listen to your plants. The best fertilizer is a gardener's shadow. There we go. That means time in the garden. Spend the time in the garden. That is really what makes all the difference. And it really is. So Ken Harrison says, okay, my friends, hope everyone is having a fantastic Saturday. Yes, we are. We definitely are. TC says, feel the plant vibes, no doubt. Hello, everyone. Hello, TC. And let's see here. It's getting chill. TC says, it's getting chilly in Alaska, zone 4A. Determination dust is on its way. Determination dust. Is that what we call snow? So, okay, and let's see, you guys are talking before the thing even starts. Big Wes is here, of course. Ken Harrison and Sharon. So excited, I just got a deal from my local farmer. Pure organic fed horse manure for $1.50 a 5-gallon bucket. Okay. Well, he's got a great operation going on that he can sell it. But hey, if you know that it's organic fed, and you're positive that there's no Grazon involved, then it's absolutely worth that for sure. And if you guys only had a couple of 5-gallon buckets, access to a 5-gallon bucket or two of the horse manure, or the chicken manure or the cow manure or whatever manure it is, if you have limited quantities, the best way to make it stretch is the liquid fertilizers. But if you have good amount of quantities, the best way to actually do it is put it in the ground. That's the best way to do it. Because, and now is about the time. The next video I make next week is probably going to be a video about like the 5 things that you need to be doing now for next year. And those are going to include the fertility adding or the cover cropping. So you have to decide for yourself, watch the videos I made last year about that. And you have to decide for yourself if cover crops or fertility adding is the way to go, is the way that you're going to do it. And then you have to do it, because right now is about that time. Trying to get everything situated. So let's see here. Dav says, any tricks to ripen green tomatoes? Not really. You pick them and bring them inside and put them in the indoor environment, and that's about. I don't really know any tricks. Do you guys know tricks to ripen them? Because for us, or for me right now, I am totally overwhelmed with tomatoes. I mean, I've made 30, 40 quarts or pints and stuff of different kinds of tomato sauces, and some of it just the straight tomato sauce like you saw in the video, which is the base and super versatile. You can add it to all kinds of stuff. Or I made some with a little bit more like an it's for like English baked bean, or English, when you're traveling and stuff, you get like an English breakfast and it always has the beans, and they're just super good. I like English beans like that. And so I make a tomato sauce specifically for that and can it in the little half pints. Yeah, really good. And but then now I've dehydrated so many tomatoes. I mean, with the dehydrator I got now, guys, the Kasori 10 tray. I think I put a link in the description, I hope. It's just so wonderful because it's like quadruple the amount of produce than the other one that I had, the round circular one. It's just so much more. So now I've got like huge jars full of the tomato powder and stuff. It's really great. Malcolm Stark says, good evening, South Africa here. A bit late, but I'm here. That's what matters. TC says, I heard of wrapping them with newspapers after you bring them in. Helps some. Actually, I think that is to make them so that they store longer and without the Drosophila flies getting to them, the fruit flies. So because before your frost, guys, bring all your green tomatoes in, and they will ripen over the next month. It takes them weeks, can take several weeks to a month, and they will stay perfectly fresh, ripening. So you'll have tomatoes all the way into November. So Dov says, thanks, good tips, everyone. I will try a few of those. Yes, everyone's got good advice here, so that's good. Okay, let's see here. Wayne Corelli, $10. Thank you very much for the tip, my friend. Says, what are the 5 things? What are the 5 things plant need? Light, air, water, nutrients, and it all has to happen at the right temperature. That's correct. Those are the 5 things that plants need. And that's going to become very relevant this year as we move into the indoor growing season. And so we're going to be doing microgreens, wheatgrass, and I haven't decided a couple of other things. Definitely mushrooms. I got the mushrooms happening right now. So I'm making that video for you guys. Don't worry, you still got plenty of time. And no, I wasn't able to get the links in the description yet because North Spore is going through like a transition period where they're bouncing around. Someone died, which is unfortunate, and then they tried to get this new program going and yada yada. So give it another week or so, but don't worry, you got plenty of time because you don't want to rush it. What you really want to do, if you want to grow mushrooms this year, you want to watch the videos I made last year about it. Even though I've got a better system now, I've refined it, so it's better now. But you want to watch it and you want to see the conditions that are required for growing mushrooms. And then you want to start scheming on how you can create these conditions in your own, with your own setup. See, Patricia says, my mushrooms struggled last year. Yes. And I got that from a lot of people. So what we need to do this year, though, is take what we've learned, and it's all about creating the right conditions. So if you're wanting to grow the lion's mane, we're going to grow primarily lion's mane, yellow oysters, and blue oysters. And I just had phenomenal flushes last year and results. A lot of learning experience, but I did it all even through the summer. I had some lion's mane going on. So the main thing you want to do is get those conditions happening. Get a little grow tent, get a little, well, just watch the video and you'll set something up. And then I will show you the new way. Definitely. Look to Nature Homestead says, I am brushing up on anything around 11, 12, and 13 months ago since it is still relevant. This is exactly what I wish YouTube understood. You know, the videos from last year at this time are absolutely perfectly relevant. And in fact, it's kind of making it a little bit challenging for me to come up with relevant topics because I'm like, well, I already made the videos about cover cropping and all the good information's in there. Yes, I have refined it even more since then, and there's more information I could definitely add. But the channel's only 1 year. I mean, this is only the first full season. So it's hard for me to like make another cover cropping video when I've got like 3 of them from last year, you know, but YouTube's not like pushing the old videos anymore. The way the algorithm works, they just want new videos. That's it. Just new videos all the time, you know? So yeah, it's a little bit unfortunate. I mean, when it becomes your profession, you know, it's like you have to ride the wave. You have to look at the analytics and all of that. If you guys watch Hugh's garden, Hugh Richards, you know, the English chap, he has a very nice garden in England, of course, where the climate is like really wonderful for growing. But he makes great videos and very cinematic. He's been doing it a long time. He's a young guy, but he's been doing it a long time. You can see like 9 years ago, he's got videos from 9 years ago on his channel when he was like a young pup. So it's pretty cool. But yeah, he made a video where he's like, look, we got to start doing the, we got to stop doing the Hugh's diaries because the algorithm's not pushing them and he's getting tiny little play time on it and it's hurting the channel. And I was like, man, I understand, you know, where it's at. I mean, my cooking videos, even though I think that those are so important, the cooking videos are as important as anything else because that's actually what it's about. You know, those, you know, very, very little exposure and engagement, which is perfectly, well, it just is what it is. You know, I just accept it. But to me, I'm not going to stop making those because that's super important, guys. I mean, that's actually what motivated me to begin growing in the first place is to, because I'm like, okay, the only way to guarantee that you know what is going into your body and it's the highest quality possible and it's full of that good life force and the vitamins and the minerals and it's not been touched with any of the big ag stuff that gets in your brain and all of that. No. The only way to ensure is to grow your own. And so that is why the whole gardening thing, you know, really spurred is for that. I mean, obviously there's the love of growing, of course. You know, I've got the passion for growing, but it's also so that we can put it into the body and experience a better state of mind and health. Yeah, Alvin K says, that's why I started gardening, so I can eat food I can trust. Yes, exactly. Exactly. Ken Harrison said, I like the cooking video from the other day. Please continue. Yes, thank you, Ken. And several of you do. Yeah, I mean, I'm not complaining. This is not a complaint. This is just a recognition to how the algorithm works. You know, AI is already controlling it. And AI could mean algorithmic intelligence. You know, it's all kind of, and you can't really understand it. As a creator, you want to try to understand. You know what I mean? Like if you guys had a job, you kind of want to understand like, all right, well, what does the boss expect? What does the person signing your paychecks, what do they expect? You know, and how can you advance? You know, and how can you be the best at what you're doing? You know, so give me some guidelines, you know, show me, you know what I mean? You can't just say, well, you have to guess. You just have to guess what to provide. I'm not going to tell you anything. You just have to guess. And if it's not good enough, we're just going to stuff you down towards the bottom. How about that? you know? So, yeah, let's see here. Sharon says, this season I had so many weeds, decided to rework the garden, including raised beds. I have a hodgepodge of untreated wood. So plastic or cloth as a weed barrier? If only I could afford you. Yes, a consultation would be nice. We could get that under control. But what I would recommend for you, I know a lot of people don't. That's why I haven't really made too many videos about it. But I'm telling you, plastic sheet gardening is the way to go. I mean, if you're overwhelmed with weeds and stuff, guys, there's no finer method than that, because nothing grows but the plants. And but people, you know, they've got strong opinions about plastic and stuff like that, and rightfully so. I totally get it, you know. And they're like, well, that's not organic and stuff. So, but I'm telling you, man, I've seen it over the years, and I've been to so many consultations, and I've seen people are always sending me pictures of their problems and their gardens and all that stuff constantly, and so I can see it, and I'm like, you know, okay, the number one issue is that you're just totally overwhelmed with the weeds, and the plants that we grow for food, they never have the home field advantage. They never do. So the weeds have the home field advantage. They are bred by the ultimate designer to be very hardy and robust and powerful to grow, drought tolerant, heat tolerant, whatever the local climate comes for or calls for, that's what the weeds are designed for. And so they will always outcompete the plants that we grow for food, especially little soft, little weak things like onions and stuff, and garlic. I mean, they'll just become overwhelmed. Just, oh, too much weeds, too many weeds. I just can't. And they just give up. And so that's what they would say if they were talking. And they do say that. So you'll get a bunch of stunted little stuff. So what you got to do is get them weeds under control, guys, because there's only a finite amount of sunlight, water, nutrients, you know, things like that. So Reed of Urantia, good to see you here, man. It's been a long time, I feel like. Says nothing stops horsetail, not even plastic. Sad. Whew. It's growing up through plastic. Let's see. Happy to run for me says, I get weeds that double as bushes and are super woody. I have to get out the saw to cut them down. Maybe a stump grinder. Now, I feel you, man. I feel you. That's the number one problem. When people try to expand, they always are like, man, we had all these high hopes and stuff. So what we did, and I'm like, oh, because they're wanting a consultation or something, they're like, so here's what we did, okay? We had a little garden last year, and we thought we want to grow all of our own food. And so we tilled up this 70 by 120 plot. We tilled it all up, and we planted 35 rows of this and that, you know, different. We got our things here and there. Took us weeks to get everything planted, and then they'll show me pictures of it, and it looks like an abandoned lot in Detroit. It looks like just totally overrun. I'm like, well, where are the plants? They're like, oh, well, see, they're in there. See, they're, and it's like, no. You're not getting any food out of that because you went way too big too fast. So you need to dial it back in a bit, and you need to bring in the heavy artillery. Okay, and so the whole like a Viking thing is utilizing the technology that best suits your endeavors, and that's what the Vikings did, of course. And so when you see a new technology that says, hey, this would work, okay, our goal is to harvest as much organic, high vibrational produce as possible. So the plastic sheeting is going to really allow us to do a lot more of that. So we're going to use that, you know. Right. Look to Nature says, like the sunstone. Exactly. If they were like, if you guys know about the Viking navigation and stuff like that, they found a new way to navigate through the seas. That's why they could go out to all over the world. And so if they were like, no, we're not going to use that new technology because the old ways work better. We don't want to be, that new technology is weak, you know, or that I don't like that the sunstone is made of a certain crystal that is non-renewable or something like that, you know. They were like, no, okay, yeah, let's use it to the best of our advantage to accomplish our mission. Gabe says, isn't the carnivore diet the best? ? Aren't plants trying to kill us? Right, I know. Yeah, that's a big thing right now. That's a big thing right now. And, I'm not a scientist, I guess. Well, I'm not a certified scientist or anything. But I can tell you for sure that the human can eat plants. The human can eat plants, okay? I think people want to go so far into it. And I think that any time that you are one extreme or the other, if you're all vegan or all carnivore, that is not the way to go. Carnivore would make more sense than all vegan with plant-based fake stuff and chemicals and all kinds. I'm talking about French fries and beer are vegan, okay? So around here, a lot of vegans are what I call French fry and beer vegans. And not healthy, eating Impossible burgers and all that kind of stuff, not healthy. You can be, I'm going to come up with my own term for it, Viking diet, maybe. Not historical Viking, but this kind, modern day Viking, where it's just food in as close to its natural state as possible. That's what matters, is that it's real food and that you cook it. And it doesn't come from a package. It's not about reading labels anymore. It's about not even having labels. It's about getting whole bulk ingredients, whole bulk beans, whole bulk, potato, and then growing potatoes, carrots, onions, garlic, all this stuff you're growing yourself. Some leafy greens during the summertime. Yeah, you saw my collard green video. I slam on those collard greens, guys, and those are super nutrient dense. Now, that's just my experience, and my experience in the world tells me that those collard greens are not toxic, are not trying to kill us, even though there's oxalates in there. Yes, oxalates. See, Alvin K says the issue comes with that, for example, oxalates bind to calcium. People think that's bad. But what if you have too much calcium, iron? These veggies help regulate. Yeah, guys, we can dissect it so much, but nature doesn't dissect these kind of things. So we can just look to our natural world and to our natural ancestors. And I think that I have a different perspective on this because of all the years of traveling in Asia, in the villages. And if you guys watch my Travel Like a Viking channel, you will see, especially as I get back into them this winter, I was in like National Geographic type village settings for months. And so I really got to learn a lot of these things from these people. And they are eating plants. They're eating plants and they're mega healthy. They're also eating meat and they're super healthy. But the difference is that they're growing it themselves in the fresh mountain air. They're getting tons of exercise and they're preparing it in a way that doesn't denature the food. That they don't. It's like, well, I'm eating potatoes. Yeah, but those aren't potatoes. Those are crisps. Those are chips. Those are Fritos. I'm eating corn. Yeah, those are Frito corn chips. Or I'm eating plant-based stuff. Well, why is it meant to look like it's beef and fake out the body like it's beef and all that stuff? No, if you're eating the real stuff, then you get the full benefits. And so we're talking about raw milk, guys. Raw milk, not pasteurized. That is the key difference in my opinion and experience. Gabe says, Garden Like a Viking, do we need to eat animals and plants then? Well, this is my opinion, of course. I'm not a doctor. Consult your physician and all of that. This is not legal advice, but it is my opinion and experience, both in myself and in the world, that yes, the human being can eat a wide variety of things. We are marvels of adaptation. This body is a marvel of adaptation. This is the superpower of the human being is adaptation. Like, hawks can fly and can do amazing, unbelievable things. Horses can run, and it's unbelievable. Fish and all the other animals have their own superpower. Our superpower is adaptation. And so we can adapt ourself and the environment to suit our best needs. And so with that in mind, we can eat a variety of different things. Yes, you can thrive on a carnivore diet. I've seen it many times, and it makes sense. Yes, you can thrive on a vegetarian diet. I have seen it. I've seen whole cultures that do not eat meat. So I would say yes. But the underlying thing is that it's all real food, and we have to define that. What is the real food? And the real food is, well, what we've been talking about, what we grow. You know, the potatoes that are super nutrient dense. And, but when you get the beef and stuff like that, I mean, okay, so what do? I eat tons of beef, but it's 100% pastured. It's sourced from happy cows. It's sourced from farmers that are conscious about this stuff. It's not industrial feedlots. And when I was traveling through the States, I lived in a van for 2 years as well. So when I was traveling through the States many years ago, I came to this place they call Cowschwitz. And you can imagine, and you're just driving and you start smelling it for miles, for like 2 hours. You're smelling this smell of like death. You're driving along, and then all of a sudden you hit this, it's in the plains somewhere. I forget exactly where it's at, but, and then you drive through, and all you see for miles and miles and miles is no grass and kennels, huge kennels, no grass, and just cows as far as you can see. And it's like an extermination camp for cows. So that kind of stuff we don't need. We don't need that kind of stuff, because that's not what we're talking about. That's just not, you don't want to be a part of that. Okay. So we consciously source the meat from our friend like Jerry, for example. He's got 100 head of cattle, maybe 2, something like that. But he's got several hundred acres, and they eat pasture, 100% pastured, and he tends them himself. You know, and I've been there to the farm, and you can see it's beautiful. I mean, the trees and just all kinds of land and tall grasses. He plants cover crops for them, and so that is where you want to source your stuff. That's where you want to source your stuff. A place like that. Because that's going to have everything the body needs. That's what the cows are designed to eat, is grass. The cows are not designed to eat genetically modified corn and soybeans. You see? And so once you start feeding them something that they're not designed to eat, you're going to have problems. The same with us. Once you start feeding us some genetically modified something or some highly processed stuff that would never exist in nature, you're going to have problems. So yeah, as you can tell, I'm very, very passionate about this topic. So, okay, let me answer. Okay, William Roeder says, "Hey Nate, I asked a question on your last video. Maybe you haven't seen it yet, but what is your solution to having your cucumbers float during the fermentation process? By the way, my JMS was successful." Good, and yes, I did see that. I thought I responded to it, but there's a lot of correspondence these days. So, but I'm glad we're here now talking about it. So, the best thing to do, I actually found the fermentation weights, and I wish I had them right now. But if you watched last week's one, the fermentation weights, well, actually, I put a link in the description. So, if you go, I think it's the very first link. So if you just go to the description of this video right now, you will see the ideal fermentation weights, and it's like $20 or something for 12 of them. And you use the wide mouth jars with that, and you place that right on top. And those are the good ones. Don't get any other kind, because I have all the different kinds, and they all suck compared to these ones. Because yes, just use those. You just put those right on top. Now that being said, if you pack it good enough, you won't have to really do that. So I actually save most of my fermentation weights for the tomatoes. The fermented tomatoes float just crazy. I mean, just because they become so effervescent, so they just all float. But what you want to do is put the weight on those. So yeah, Teats and Treats says pickle pebbles. And yes, you can use stones as well. You can. I wouldn't. I mean, I have in the past, definitely, but that's back when I was still having failures sometimes. And so I would not recommend the stones, unless you had no money, of course. Then stones will work all right. Then maybe wrap them in a bag or something like that, or boil them, sterilize them first in some way. And that's free, yes. So definitely. But 12 of them for like $22, and they last forever. I mean, they're made of glass, you know. And let us see here. Yes, Lisa T says, those are great fermentation weights, Nate. She's talking about the ones in the description. When I run out, it's Ziploc with water in them to weigh down the veggies. Absolutely, yes. Now, I typically do that with like Crocs. When you'll see the kimchi video or the sauerkraut videos and stuff, that I will do with a gallon Ziploc bag and the bigger Crocs. I find there's not enough room to really put enough in the quart mason jar. Brian, what's up, my friend? Says, a little late today. Good morning, Nate and everyone. Hope all is well and many blessings, my Viking friend. Yes, likewise, brother. Yeah, so I have been doing now for about... Actually, let me show you guys some of this real quick, okay? Do you guys get down with the Swiss chard? Because the Vulcan Swiss chard, look at this. Look at the Vulcan Swiss chard. It's just absolutely delicious. I mean, you can't... It's a spinach substitute, but even calling that spinach is kind of a joke. Spinach is a little bit of a joke because it's the most temperamental of all the plants as far as temperature fluctuations. So here in the fake north, we have huge temperature fluctuations. So the stuff bolts, spinach bolts. This never bolts until year 2, of course. But this doesn't bolt, so it really stays good and strong. And these leaves are nice and tender. You can eat them fresh. And look at the color, guys. The color is super good. And if you need a little bit less strong of a taste, then you just blanch them, cool them, and then you can use them. And blanch them just for a second, okay? But the Swiss chard is, I mean, if you guys have met me, you know how big my head is. So this is big. This is big. But look at it. It's just so beautiful. I just look at these sometimes. I mean, this could be an ornamental. You know, look at the vein stuff on that. You know, and yeah, I actually don't spray. I haven't sprayed the plants with anything this year as far as even the JDOM pesticides, JWA, I haven't used any of that this year, guys. And yeah, we have a little bit of holes. You see, there's a few holes here and there. But we're not concerned about this. That's totally acceptable. Okay. So we don't need perfect looking produce. This is perfect looking produce because, it's naturally grown. So this is what produce is supposed to look like. A little bit of holes. It's not decimated, but yeah, that's perfectly acceptable. So yeah, don't think that you have to have, oh, I see a hole in there, so I got to spray it with something. No, not at all. There's a perfectly allowable threshold. You know, they're kept in check. Guys, this year there is hundreds of praying mantises in the garden. I mean, more than I ever seen. I seen one fighting a bird the other day. It was huge. I wish I could post the video, but the bird was picking at the mantis. You know, it was about to eat it, and the mantis was going like this. And then I walked up, and the mantis didn't see me, but the bird did. So the bird flew away. And as soon as the bird flew away, the mantis was like, ah, like he thought he did it. You know, he was like, yeah, that's right. It was funny. Maybe I'll post the video. But yeah, so I just want to show you guys, you know, realistic expectations, and you can grow. This is the Vulcan Swiss chard, and there's like 30 of these on each plant. I only grow 2, and you'll have a bunch of stuff. So these can also double as an ornamental, yes? Let's see, does the Vulcan get much larger than Ruby Swiss chard? I believe so. The Ruby has never been, this Vulcan is Jurassic. I mean, I mean, look at it. And so 30 of these, it looks just like, it's like a showpiece. You know, it's really beautiful in the garden. So Rainbow Swiss chard also, yeah, very good looking. I just prefer the deep red colors of this thing. Now, Scott says, wow, Nate has a big head. Dinosaur food. So wow, dinosaur food. That's right. That's right. Hello, Kim Williams. Good to see you here. She says hello from Tunisia. And Shooting the Soil, what's up, my friend? Says, hey, everyone. Been seeing a bunch of mantis here in Massachusetts, too. Nice. That's really good. This year, there was tons of pollinators in the garden. So that's really great. Now, that's not to say that, everything's great. Again, no, we're still in absolute pollinator population collapse. Just right here in my little oasis in an otherwise food desert for pollinators, in my little oasis, they are very happy. They are thriving. I mean, tons of pollinators this year. So, yeah. So this is what's, don't get hung up on little holes and stuff like that. And a lot of people say, hey, the holes is good because that is how the insects know good food. Now, there's also the whole school of thought when people are like, well, if your Brix reading, I get comments all the time. Well, if your Brix reading was above 15, then the plant could produce the secondary plant metabolites and you wouldn't have that issue. Yeah, okay, my friend, I get it. I know all about the secondary plant metabolites and the Brix reading and all that, but that's in the laboratory, okay? That's like in science, but it just doesn't really always work that way. It just doesn't work that way in the natural world. So I don't check the Brix reading. I don't check the EC. I don't check any of that stuff because there's no need to. You just accept a little bit of holes and eat the produce. And it's obviously super nutrient rich and dense. It's obviously thriving. So we're not going to check the EC and worry about secondary plant metabolites. And if there's a couple of holes, we're not going to get hung up on it and try and spray with a bunch of stuff, even the natural stuff. You only want to spray this stuff if you have to. It's like a last resort. So now this leads me into my next thing, okay? This leads me into my next thing. And which you can see, obviously, these are a cousin of the same thing, the same family. So this is a bull's blood beet, guys. And these things are so nutrient dense that they look like a deep burgundy blood. It is so wonderful, these things. I juice them all the time. Also, as you saw in my Grill the Garden video, I grill them this way, okay? But these leaves, this is how you can distinguish the bull's blood, is that they are dark all the way through. And so I juice the leaves as well. I juice this whole thing. And look at this, guys. I mean, it is so full of minerals. You don't have to worry about iron deficiencies in your body or carotene deficiencies, vitamin A. So many vitamins and minerals. You don't have to worry about that if you are regularly consuming things like this. And there's no one that can tell me oxalates, this or that this is bad for you. There's just no way. So, but look at this. Look here. So this is a beet that, and I plant them super close together, and they just fight. They just fight for the space, and that just makes them strong. So right. So here, so this guy B says the bad plants attract pests, the good don't. Yeah, that's in theory. Okay, that's perfectly good in theory, but experience tells me otherwise. So yeah, I kind of get it. I kind of agree with that. I perfectly understand that. But also, the plant can be super big and healthy and thriving, and it's still going to be some holes. So just account for it. But look, okay, so the beet, look at this taproot, guys. Look at how long the taproot is. Look at that. I'm still going up. Look at that. That is why they are so drought tolerant. Once they get to that level, look at that thing. That's a 1.5 feet or even 2 feet long. That's how deep it goes into the ground. That's why they can be beets. Once they're established, they can be very drought tolerant. So Alvin K says, not really a fan of beets, but maybe I need to give them another try. You absolutely do. You need to get the juicer that I've got and juice them. That's the way. That's my favorite way to do the beets, is the juice. Dark, blood red, all the good minerals for the body. So that's what I do. But also check out the video I make, Grill the Garden, and I show you how I prepare the beets, on the grill, and they are super delicious that way. But look at that. So that taproot. So when people say taproot, this is what we are talking about. So everyone's asking about the juicer. Now, I think I put the juicer in the description. If I didn't, as soon as this video is over, I will do that, because I've experimented with a lot. I've been juicing for years, 15 years or more. No, long time now. So I know which ones I know which ones I like, and I know which ones are good. And I know the masticating versus the centrifugal and stuff. So yeah, If I don't already have the link in the description, then I will put it as soon as this video is over, because I highly recommend that one. And it will chew through these beets like nothing. And beets, carrots, and stuff. But now look, pay attention, okay? This is the bull's blood beet. Do you see how deep red it is? It's sort of bulbous like this. It's got nice structure to it. And it's got the leaves now that are also dark. So it's got all those good minerals in it. This taste of the earth. This taste, my mom would say, my mom is very blunt about a lot of things. So she would take one, I would make a juice with this and she would take one sip. She'd go, tastes like dirt. You know, okay, thanks, Mom. But you could say tastes like earth, okay? Tastes like minerals. That's how I rephrase that. It tastes like earth, okay, Mom? So the next thing is I want to show you a beet specifically designed or bred for juicing. And now look. And here is the Solyndra beet. Here is the Solyndra beet. Do you see how it's, this one's actually a little bit malformed, but usually they grow straight. But I plant them thick and I just let them compete for the space, and they do. But do you see the greens are different on this one? The greens look more like the Swiss chard because they are in the same family. But this one, guys, the Solyndra is the best beet I've ever had. Up until now, it has been the bull's blood beets, okay? Yeah, everyone's laughing at my mom. And she would too. She would take one sip. You'd make this big juice and put all this good stuff right from the garden. And she'd take one sip and go, tastes like dirt. You know, she would drink it though. She gets it. And now she juices all the time herself. So now she's on board with all of that. But she still thinks beets taste like dirt. Except these ones, these Solyndra are absolutely delicious. And so they are sweet. I mean, they are sweet beyond belief. At least grown here, they are. And I'm just blown away. So the bull's blood up until now has been my favorite. Because of, well, they're just beautiful and they got that classic beet taste. But the Solyndra one has just taken place. Now it is first place because the sweetness, you can eat them raw and they don't taste like dirt. They don't taste like earth as much, but they're still full of the minerals. And so how long do they take to grow? Lairdy58 says, how long do they take to grow? Beets grow really fast. We get 3 runs of beets here. You can, so the way to do beets is to plant them in the very early spring and just let the seeds come up when the time is right. And then once you harvest one, you put another seed right in its place. And you can do that 3 times in a season, at least here in this growing season. So yes, okay. Someone, let's see here. The Rick49, $10. Thank you very much, my friend. Says, do you have Hugo beds? He means Hugo culture. If so, any tips for getting ready before winter? We will get to that in just a moment. Don't let me forget, okay? I just want to finish with these beets. But I think we are finished with the beets, aren't we? I mean, how much can you say? These are just super delicious. Bull's blood Solyndra, okay? Get the Solyndra if you like eating them fresh or juicing. And they are cold hardy, so you can get 3 plantings of the beets, okay? And they will just sit there. Now, these are a little bit big. For if you're going to eat them fresh, you want to harvest them a little bit smaller because they'll be more tender. So, but for juicing, you just let them get nice and plump and delicious, okay? So if any of you guys missed, I'm going to show these again here right before the end just because of how delicious all this stuff is, and I want to make sure you guys see it and understand the recommendations and whatnot. So, let's see. Tubba says, when do you recommend getting seeds? Anytime is good. Anytime is good that you need. So right now, well, now's a little bit late. So you get them in the spring, but beet seeds will last a couple of years, no problem. So you can get them now if you wanted, but in the spring probably. Okay, so the hugelkultur beds, to get them ready for winter, what I would do is plant a legume cover crop. I would plant a crimson clover cover crop because The first issue typically with hugelkulturs in the first few years especially is lack of nutrients, in particular nitrogens. And so I would plant a nitrogen fixer. Where are you located? Because if you're located sort of anywhere between like southern Indiana and south of that, you can use crimson clover. I mean, I even use crimson clover here. And the past few years, we haven't had an issue because it hasn't got to -10 yet. But it does. Some years, it definitely gets that cold some years, and that will kill it. But if you're in the north of that, then mammoth red clover, plant those. Or if you want like a living mulch in the hugel bed, plant the Dutch white clover. And that is going to be very nourishing. It's not only going to be nourishing, but it's going to hold the soil together. So I don't know how far along your hugel bed is, or if you how you prepared it and stuff. It's an art form, guys. It's an art form. Okay, preparing the hugel beds. We had several of those in Northern California, and several of errors that we had to learn from. Definitely. So plant the legume, and that's my most recommendation. Add some fertility, then plant the legume. Let's see here. Scarecrow Valley says, dehydrating, question mark. Is this an okay way to preserve veg and meat? Absolutely it is. Definitely. I dehydrate a lot of things. And also make the, well, I'm going to show you guys some greens powder and stuff like that. I dehydrate a lot of things. Yeah. Because it's a wonderful way. Let's see. Sam Ahmad says, man, you are a legend. Thank you, my friend. Let's see. I grow onions. Okay, let's see here. What are your thoughts on soil mites? What kind of soil mites? I don't know exactly what this is. Soil mites. Well, only if they're harming things is it going to be an issue. So the only time that I had to use some JDOM stuff this year was to cure the bed with the symphyalins, and it did. It cured them. So that was I used the JDOM wetting agent and the JDOM sulfur, and that allowed for, and then I took the mulch off. So the ultraviolet baked the soil, and then I added 3 ounces a gallon of the JDOM sulfur, 3 ounces a gallon of the JDOM wetting agent, and applied it very heavily to the bed, and then let it sit for about 5 days, and then replanted into it. And the plants I planted into it are thriving. I got eggplants and everything now. So it worked, and I didn't see it. I pulled up a couple other things, and I have not seen any return. So if there are mites that you need to get rid of for some reason, and you know that, then the wetting agent works really well. The wetting agent and the sulfur. And it all breaks down. So it's not like, well, obviously not like real chemical pesticides that stay persistent and just kill indiscriminately and stuff. These will react differently. Kim Williams says, great tip for reseeding beets. Thanks. Yes, that's the way to do it. And you'll probably get 4 plantings, 4 or 5, if you don't have like a hard freeze. Let's see here. Urea fertilizer. Happy. Okay, so you guys are giving advice. And Tree Rogi says, dehydrating is great for everything. Better than throwing them out. Definitely better than throwing them out. Yes. And let's see here. And let's see. Teats and Treats says, awesome info and attitude towards growing. I'm working on my attitude and the way I think about food. Nice. That's what it's all about. The state of mind precedes everything. And so with the appropriate state of mind, then everything else grows from there. It all blossoms from there. Scott Miller says, Nate, for your merch, sow to grow. Nice, not bad. So once the merch is coming out, which I finally have been able to figure out, there's so many things to do. But I finally figured out a way to just get into it. So at first I was trying to think, well, I got to get the merchandise and then get it sent to me, and all of that, because I met Daniel from Arms Family Homestead. He's got a big channel, and I met him in Chicago at this little symposium thing that we did, and we were talking for a while, and he was telling me how he does his merch, and he gets it sent to him from a company, and then his wife, it's like her full-time job. She packages it and sends it out and all of that. And that's really great. That's really great, but I can't, I don't have that manpower at the second, or I'm just trying to streamline everything at the moment. So I am going to utilize, I saw some other YouTubers that have got like some cool merch, like underneath the videos and stuff, some pretty clever stuff. And so it is a company that it's like a third party that will do it for you. So that's what I'm going to do at first. And going to get some merch happening. Going to get just a couple of things, I got a few ideas, and but then I want to see you guys' pictures with the merch. That will be super cool. And that, like on Instagram or on Facebook or something, take a picture of the merch with your garden. That would just be mind-blowingly cool to me. And I think other people too. It would at least be somewhat cool to other people. Let's see. Maggie Smith says, growing those huge plants is such a wonder. Just putting that little seed in the ground, and in a few months, you have big food. I know, it's pretty incredible. And our best technology cannot do that. There's just absolutely no way in the self-sustaining cycle. When we look at the earth as a whole organism, which it is, of course, living, breathing system, it's when we look at that, there's nothing that we can do or create that can even come close to replicating that. A self-sustaining life support system, that it's all contained within the earth. It just receives the sunlight, and it just all keeps recycling. It just all keeps recycling. It all keeps regrowing, and it's just really amazing to see it and to feel the part of it. Yeah. That being said, though, I get some comments, from people and stuff, and I get some comments, and people are like, all this stuff's totally unnecessary. This is ridiculous. Grandpa used to just put seeds in the ground, and then they would have food on the table. That's some of them is like, Grandma would just throw seeds in the ground. Next thing we knew, there'd be food on the table. It's so easy. You're overcomplicating it. And so I'm thinking, even though I don't respond to those kind of people because I don't have any energy for them. I don't care. But it does, I make a mental note. I say, okay, well, actually, that's not the way it happened. I absolutely guarantee you, Grandma didn't just throw the seeds in the ground and next thing you knew, food was on the table. You, as a young kid, weren't aware of all the work that Grandma was doing. That is definitely the way it actually happened. And I've had at least a dozen comments state like that same kind of thing. All this is unnecessary. Just throw seeds in the ground, you get food. It doesn't work that way. You were unaware as a child about Grandma and Grandpa were working in the garden. I guarantee it. And so there's no way that, because that's just not how it works. You don't just throw seeds in the ground and get food. No, you have to nurture it. You have to do things to it, okay? So you guys know. So, but do I say that to these people? Absolutely not. Who cares? Someone said something about the merch, slurp to grow. I'm almost thinking it because enough people have commented about the slurping that, but it's who I am. It's just part of who I am. Okay. So I'm not going to change who I am because you don't like my slurping. Okay. Tea is just wonderful. I drink tea several times a day. Tea is such an amazing thing, especially when you're growing the herbs and the chamomile. Thank you, Ursula, for picking the chamomile. My hands just don't pick chamomile very well. But yes, this stuff just smells like wonderful. Oh, man. Like just mountain flowers and apples and sunshine and just all the good stuff. And so you just add a little bit to the tea with some local raw honey, and it's just boom. It's amazing. So yeah, that's the kind of thing that, like, once you start getting on enough people's radar and stuff, everyone's got an opinion. Everyone's got an opinion about what you're doing and stuff. So if you guys are like trying to get on social media or something, like trying to make a profession out of it, don't worry about the people that are trying to neg you down and stuff like that. Everyone's like, well, what do you do about the haters? How do you deal with them? I don't deal with them. I absolutely don't. I just on to the next. Who cares? Because I know that they're confused. They're just obviously confused, because I know what I'm saying and doing is what I know to be true. So that's there's no apology needed. There's just no, you just do it. And there's always going to be people trying to hate on you. But then you look at their profiles and stuff. They're not growing anything. They don't know anything about growing. They just want to be negative, So you look, and they don't got no skin in the game. They don't have any videos up, or they're not trying to teach people anything, to spread love or knowledge or anything like that. They're just spreading negativity. So just let them sulk in their negativity. That's what you do. You don't, you just say, look, I'm not going to receive any of that negative energy, because I'm just on a totally different trajectory than you. So, Big West said, I got very triggered on Instagram by my first troll. I think I saw that. Yeah, you were very triggered. No doubt. So, but that will, when I've been making videos for like 4 years, and just this channel that finally took like a year and a half ago. But at first, the negative comments would just derail me. What? You put so much work in, especially if you're making videos and stuff. I had traveling videos up, and people would make those kind of remarks, and because my worth, or not my worth, but like a part of me was still tied to that. This is like 5 years ago now, probably. And a part of me was still tied to that. And so when they were dissing the video and all that, I was like, well, how could you possibly, nobody speaks to me like that. And which is true. In person, nobody's ever spoken to me like that in person. Nor do I believe would they. But on the internet, they can say anything that they want, and just run away. It's that's part of what we're seeing. When I was young and stuff, if you said something like rude and disrespectful to like a neighborhood kid, you were probably getting punched, or you were getting something. There was going to be some kind of consequence. You didn't just say it and then click out of the program and just nobody ever knows what. And no, it's the age of, we are in the age of a lack of social consequences is what that is. So, Mom Computer, good to see you here, my friend. Says thumbs up to show appreciation for all of Nate's knowledge and guidance, please. Yes, thank you. Thank you very much. And guys, yes, just the way you can help out the channel is just the thumbs up. Share the videos with other people that need it. Tell people about the community here and stuff like that. If they're having issues with the garden, and tell them they can give me video ideas and stuff like that, suggestions. Happy to run for me says, I think Yukon Golds are 70 to 90 days. That's right. Yeah, Yukon Golds are real fast. So if you're trying to get in a quick run, plant Yukon Golds. The fastest of all is like the red potatoes, like a Norland Red or Pontiac Red. Those are pretty fast, but they store the least amount of time, which is still several months. But yeah. Let's see here. Wayne Corelli says, what did you say? Pop. Oh, exactly. Oh, definitely. So, someone's going to be super disrespectful to your face when you're a kid. And just, what? What did, pop like that. And no, they're not saying that again. That's why these young kids, the newer generation doesn't have those immediate consequences. You don't say something and then get blasted in the face and go, oh, wait, I better not speak like that in front of people. I better not say that kind of stuff to people because I'll get popped in the face again. There's not that consequences now. Which, I don't know. Some people, yeah. If nothing, yeah, happy to run for me says, if nothing else, you can get little new potatoes, which is better than no potatoes at all. Correct. Yeah, you can plant potatoes. Always try to be planting potatoes, man. That's the way it goes. Potatoes are very good. Val says, hey, Nate, good to see you here, Val. Says, when will your fertilizer be available? Well, I've sent out some prototypes to different people. Shout out to Mish and shout out to a couple of others. And I've used it all around here a bunch and stuff. So it's, and it just with fantastic results. So I'm really excited about it. It's what's stopping it though is the logistics of figuring out. I mean, once I'm trying to actually get into it and think, okay, how am I I'm gonna have to get a cement mixer and mix these ingredients, and then yeah, it'll probably be not this coming season, but the next season, because of the logistics. The recipe I can put my stamp on. I mean, I know that works because I developed that recipe over many years in Northern California with high dollar plants, $800,000 crops and stuff like that, so failure was not an option. And so it was very, very important to get only the finest. And so I just tweaked it a little bit, used a little bit less expensive of ingredients because it's not practical for vegetable growing. But and then now we're using it and stuff, and it's just working phenomenal. That's all my mom's. We had 50 gallon grow pots with just like Pro Mix in it and this Viking nutrients, and her garden was amazing this year. She's still got super big healthy tomato plants, and most mine are done, but hers are still like putting on new growth and stuff. It's awesome. Yes, Viking granular fertilizer. Val wants some. Yes, it will be probably next year though. I mean the following, just because I got to figure out like, okay, well, how do you do all that? Would be a full-time job. And then I have to write a book. I'm writing a book this winter, a gardening book. And that's my main focus. So that's going to take a lot of time. And then also making videos. And I got like 4 channels and stuff. So there's plenty of stuff going on. And the shipping weight, I know. I shipped some out from here to Texas. 40 pounds in a bucket. And each bucket was $75 to ship. The shipping was $75, which is just mind-blowing. Okay. Yes. Someone said Nate has a cat. Yes, definitely. Hold on just 1 second. Shiva is the cat's name. Oh, and she's a little princess. Look at the little princess. She just likes to be held like this, like a little baby. Whoa. She's just so tired because she's not been getting her usual 22 hours of sleep. So it's hard on a cat, This is because we've been doing the sauna now again, so. Oh, look at the face. Look at the. Yeah, she loves to cuddle, but boy, she likes to sleep a lot as well. So, yeah, this place, the basement was infested with mice and rats. After my first couple of years of putting all the produce, the harvest in the basement, potatoes, winter squash, families of mice and rats moved in immediately, and they were impossible to get rid of. It was just unbelievable to try to get rid of them. And so once I got her, I was trying to trap the rats and the mice and everything, and it wasn't doing anything. They were avoiding it. These city rats are clever. They know to avoid traps. And I even did the bucket traps and all that stuff. They didn't touch any of it. But I got this cat, and they all moved out of town. I've never seen another one. They just totally moved out. So yeah, it really works good. Michael says my cat name is Reba McIntyre. Nice. Yeah, this one is Shiva, after the god of destruction. Yes, very appropriately named. But she's just kind of a fake though, because she likes to talk a tough game. Like these rats around here and these mice are like, "Oh guys, we gotta go. There's a cat," but they don't realize she's like not really a real cat. She's just like a little princess cat. So she's not very aggressive to the animals. But yeah, she's awesome. Okay, you're done. Good job. So, oh yeah, Ken Harrison says, better than my cat. She brings the darn things in, still alive. Yeah, that would not be cool. That would not be cool. But it's just having the smell of the cat and stuff that the city cats know, like, get away. We got to go. So, yep, that's the Shiva. You know what I do, though? I feed her what cats are meant to eat. I feed her only raw meat. That's the only thing she's ever had is raw chicken legs, frozen. I give them to her frozen. She only eats one time at night because she's outside all day. And then she comes in at night. That's why I feed her at night only. And she comes in at night. I feed her one frozen raw chicken leg, sometimes with a little bit of raw beef liver and some blood. She loves that. And I give her that. And she gnaws on that thing all night until by the morning it's all gone. It's just a cleaned up bone. That's it. And so, yeah, and she's mega healthy. People that see her go, I cannot believe how healthy her coat is. And it's just shiny and luscious, and she has zero issues with anything. And so I attribute that because she's eating what she's meant to eat, raw meat. In particular, avian meat, bird meat. That is what these kind of cats really are eat. And so she's just been wonderful with that. Sometimes a little bit of, if I do some fat trimmings off of the brisket or something like that, I'll feed her some raw fats and stuff. I'll crack a raw egg, a raw fertilized egg from the farm. I'll crack that, mix it up, and then she'll just, eat that whole thing. Everything's raw, though. She's never once had kibble or cat food of like that. And I attribute her health to that. So I want to show you guys, Maggie Smith says, cats are obligate carnivores. Yes, they definitely. They're not like the dogs and stuff. They are 100% carnivores. They're not meant to eat sweet potatoes and rice and stuff like that. I mean, I offer her all kinds of stuff, but she would never ever take that. Like in the beginning, she would smell it and she was just like, where's the meat? Where's the raw meat? That's all I care about. And so I said, okay, well, that's what you'll get then, because obviously that is what you are into. If you and always, if I put out, and I've tested this several times, if there's several things, she will always go for the raw liver first. Always. She always goes she goes crazy over the raw liver. And obviously it's the most nutrient dense food on the planet, and the cat is hardwired to understand that. It knows, get the liver. That's the good stuff. That's why I eat raw beef liver as well, because it's just phenomenal. It makes you feel fantastic and alert and clear and all of the good stuff. Yeah. Look to Nature says, Nate, I appreciate you. We all do. Can't afford to send you money often, but I rally for you every day. Thank you, my friend. Don't feel bad about the money thing, because the people that have the means, they will contribute, and they have been, and it's just wonderful. So, and that's not, that's not the only way that you can give back, of course. And give back, rallying for me and the channel, ultimately, that is very, very helpful. So yes, you can keep that up. If you guys can't donate, then perfectly fine. But donate your energy in the way of spreading the videos and the channel. Also the Thrive Like a Viking channel. If you guys want to talk about, the power of the subconscious, if you want to unlock the powers of the body through cold training and breathing techniques and sauna therapy, all that kind of stuff, I do regularly. And that's what the Thrive Like a Viking channel is about. So you can check that out. Also, I'm going to be making videos on the Travel Like a Viking channel again, starting here in probably after the first frost, so in about 3 weeks or so. I'm going to try for like one a week, at least during the winter. That'd be awesome. And if you guys are local to Fort Wayne, Indiana, then I'm holding classes this winter for breath work, sauna, and ice bathing. And I will guide the classes. There's a Monday class and a Thursday class. The class will be from 6 to 8 p.m. Here at the Garden Like a Viking headquarters. And I will take you and each class will be 5 weeks. And I will take you through the whole process. I will guide you through it, the breath work, the sort of meditation that's involved with it, the sauna therapy, the ice bath. I will get you guys doing all of that. So if you're in the area and you would like to do that, hit me up on Facebook, and I will tell you how to sign up for that. So, yes, thank you, Mick. Says, just a reminder, do you plant flower seeds or do you scatter them? Okay. Mick is talking, he's got a question about, because I said in the last video about what seeds you can plant. I said you can actually plant wildflower seed or flower seeds now. Because if you look in nature, most of the plants that have died right now, like the echinacea and the, so many of the native flowers, you know, the wildflowers and stuff, they die back about now. And those seeds, they just fall to the ground. And they will be hardy all winter long. And so that in the springtime, they will sprout. And so you if you want to plant them now, then you can sow things like the coxcomb seeds or the zinnia seeds or even some of the chamomile. You can try it with any of them, really. And I've had success with all of them. And you just kind of sprinkle them on the surface, sprinkle them really thickly. So the way to do it is not buy packets of seeds and then try and do it that way. That's not what I'm talking, because this way you need the numbers. So what I'm talking about is like if you're harvesting your things like chamomile, and we've got tons of chamomile. We got it drying all over the place. So if you've got like a bunch, or you've harvested your Mexican sunflowers, or you've harvested your coreopsis, or the even the marigolds will do it as well, and the cosmos and stuff like that. And so you can sprinkle those very thickly and just kind of rough up the surface. Don't actually bury them because they don't need that. So yeah, that's what I would do if you want to, but you have to use a lot, because only 1 out of 1,000 or 1 out of 100, I don't know, but 1 out of many is going to actually take. So, but that's not a problem when you get tens of thousands of seeds in just a tiny little thing that you harvest yourself. So, yeah, as you deadhead, definitely. What? Big Will Dog says, Nate, my tomato plants grew to 20 feet this year, but don't send me pictures, please. But don't know when to. Did you just let them sprawl on the ground? Then okay, yeah, they can get that big. If you just let them sprawl, they can get 20 feet. Or maybe you have some kind of a ladder or trellising system or scaffolding system. Yeah. What kind of scaffolding do you use for your tomatoes? Yeah, that's not a question I hear often. Says, okay, but what was the question? He says, but don't know when to call it for this season. Should I hold off or clear it out in Indianapolis? Okay, so they're probably, well, what do you mean? If you're like, by this point, I'm kind of over tomatoes. I mean, I've had like so many tomatoes, and I've got quarts and cans and jars and pints of sauce, and I've got the several, tons, probably like 60 pounds fermenting. And so I'm had my fill of tomatoes. So I'm just kind of letting them go, or I'm dehydrating them and so giving them away and stuff. But you can, if you want to make all the tomatoes ripen more, if it's an indeterminate tomato, which if it's 20 feet, it's indeterminate, then cut off the growing tips, and that will force it to sort of focus on the ripening of the ones that it does have. But if you want to get it out of there so that you can plant a cover crop or manures, then now is a good time. Now's a good time. So if you are going to plant like a clover of some kind, like a crimson clover in Indianapolis or mammoth red clover, then now is the time. Winter rye, you can wait a bit longer. Yeah. But you don't need to let it go that long unless you're like still really wanting to get tomatoes. But if you got a 20-foot tomato plant, you're probably sick of tomatoes by now, which is great, because that's how we want to eat. Remember, is that we eat with the seasons. So whatever is in bloom at the time, whatever is in harvest, we gorge ourselves on that. No problem. We eat tomatoes. Man, I ate so many tomatoes all summer long. Sweet peppers, was eaten all the time. Cabbages, stir fries all winter. When the patty pan squash was in harvest, I was eating those every day for like 3 or 4 weeks. I was eating multiples of them every day until I got quite sick of them at the end. But that's good because the plant naturally just sort of dies back at that time. So the body can store all of these nutrients. The body doesn't need all the nutrients every single day. It can store. It knows what it's doing. It evolved to sort of eat with the seasons, obviously. And so this is good. Then in the wintertime is when we can focus more on the meat, because historically meat is something that would always be available, especially in the wintertime. And the potatoes and the other stuff that we are storing, the stuff we've canned, the winter squash, the sweet potatoes, all of that. Yes. Jay says, had to do tractor work at my mother's house. Going to start this over later. Thanks in advance, Nate. Yes, start it over. We had all kinds of good stuff today. Okay, Scott Miller says, Nate, was that coxcomb with the big red purple blooms you grew? I'm scattering flower seeds this weekend after scratching the soil. Yes, just scratch the soil, scatter the flower seeds. Now, that's one way to do it. But yeah, that was a coxcomb. That was actually a variety giant Indiana coxcomb. So those, the giant Indiana ones that are like a real showy one, those I start from seed because I want to particularly plant them in a location at a certain distance. But for the other things that and I have several different garden plots that I'm a part of. And so at those where we've got a lot of land and stuff, then just put tons of the wildflower seeds all over the border or wherever it is. And many of them will come up when the time is right in the spring. And that's how I do it, that technique. But if it's like here at the home garden where everything kind of needs to be like intentional, then I will actually start them from seed. Yeah, like in soil blocks. So, here's something super cool I want to show you guys. For the past couple of seasons, I've been wondering how I can get more of these. This is a garlic bulb that I harvested. It just had a tiny little thing on it. It was just real small, but then I pulled it up when I harvested the garlic. And I got about 10 of these this year. I only had about 2 of them last year, but the whole thing is just 1 clove of garlic. So it's super easy to peel, and the whole thing, there's not multiple cloves in here, it's just 1. And garlic is sort of not irritating, but garlic is laborious to peel for me. So I like to this is the biggest bang for the buck as far as peeling that you can get. And so I really like these. So I was trying to figure out, how do you get more of these? What happened to the garlic clove that created this? How do I get more of it? That's basically what I was wanting to know, is how do I get more of these? And nobody could answer it. But then I finally found, through some obscure way, that it is the elephant garlic. So if you guys are growing elephant garlic, then you already know that the clove, okay, Mom Computer says, that garlic bulb I would definitely replant. Yeah, but why? Because that's what I wanted to do, but it's so easy, it's so good to use. Just a huge, thick clove of garlic. But no, this is what it is. If you grow elephant garlic, you already know that at the base of the elephant garlic, there is several of these tiny little things at the base of the elephant garlic. And there's like 5 to 8 of them on each elephant garlic. And this is what it is. This is actually elephant garlic. And so this is what it does in its first year. Next year, then, it would split apart into multiple cloves. So this is garlic from seed, that's elephant garlic, which is actually closer to like a leek than really a garlic. It's still garlic. It's still very much pungent and stuff. But yeah, so and I'm very confident in that answer. I'm very confident in that yes, because I did plant some of these just to see what would happen, but I didn't correlate that that's what they were. So yeah. These, just the base of the elephant garlic, guys, plant them, because then you get this amazingly easy to peel, useful, delicious clove from it. Yeah, so that's the best way to do it. So yeah, now this year, of course, I found several of them. And yeah. Really? Renee says this is the type of cloves you can buy in the supermarket in the Netherlands. These? Garlic? That's very interesting. Well, that would make sense. The Netherlands grows all kinds of flowers and tulips because it's actually like a cousin of a tulip in some way. The elephant garlic. It's not true garlic. Chilling says, pretty sure Charles Dowding did a great video about elephant garlic last season. Nice. I'll have to watch that. I appreciate Charles' videos, definitely. Maggie Smith says, it's Viking garlic. That's exactly what it is. I don't even know why I was trying to figure it out. If someone says, what is that? What's Viking garlic? Oh, okay. Yeah, it's Viking garlic. Another thing I want to show you guys, an elephant garlic corm. I keep hearing some people say corm. Is that what those are called? Corm? Teats and Treats says, nice to watch you learning just like us. Oh, absolutely. That's what it's all about. In a never-ending, a relentless pursuit of knowledge. Definitely. That is what life is turning out to be. And Donald Hughes says, Nate, thanks for answering my question before you saw in on the symphyllins. Yes, symphyllins, definitely. That's how you take care of them. Dav says, is it approaching time to do fall planted garlic? It is approaching time, yes. But here's the thing, guys. You don't want to plant garlic too soon. See, if we bust apart these cloves and we plant it too soon, then it's going to grow too much of a stalk, which it will probably be okay. But here, if we have a cold winter, a real cold winter, like a northern winter, then it can act like a wick and it can dry the bulb out. So you don't want it to get too tall in the fall season. So for that reason, in most places, between Halloween and Thanksgiving, that's the time that you want to plant the garlic. So yeah, it's approaching time. Wayne Corelli says, Charles Dowding is always so pleasantly happy. Yes, he is. Definitely. Well, man, if you lived on Home Acres or whatever he calls the place, I think that's what it is, then yeah, in England where it's just things are growing really nice. Come on, guys, shut your phone off, okay? Show some respect. Everyone tries to text me while I'm on the live. So let's see here. Maggie Smith says, I'm in zone 6 and the guy I buy mine from says he plants in November. Yeah, so you can plant it all the way up until like the ground freezes. So it really just needs to put down some roots. That's what's most important. It just needs to put down roots beforehand. So make sure that you always plant it and watch my videos that you plant it pointy side up. And someone on Instagram, I think, asked about what do I fertilize the garlic with? And the garlic... Or no, it was on YouTube. They watched the garlic planting video and they said, well, you didn't say what you fertilize it with. I actually, garlic is the thing that you want to fall fertilize. You fertilize it now with the manures. So when I plant the garlic, I'll put about 3 inches of either horse manure, cow manure, or chicken manure, 2 inches of chicken manure over the top of it, which is a lot. And then you put the straw over it. And so... and then that's pretty much it. Then I just do the compost teas from there out, and everything is really good. So, Tree Rogi says, all signs show America is gonna have a bad winter. That would be great. You know, I welcome the winter now, guys. I mean, the sauna and ice bathing has changed everything as far as winter goes, because it used to really get to me that when I came back here from Northern California, it was like, you can't grow anything for 6 months. What are you talking about? Why would anyone live here? And it was just crazy because there was a year-round growing season in Humboldt, of course. And but then over the several years, and I found so we just started growing microgreens and wheatgrass and mushrooms indoors. But then the sauna and the ice bathing changed everything. Now I love it. So when I hear like we're gonna have a hard winter in America, I welcome it. But if you guys watch Ryan Hall, y'all, let me know if you know who I'm talking about. Ryan Hall, y'all, he's an animated weatherman. real, but he's very animated in his methodology and stuff. So, but I really like the videos. They're fast paced, they're engaging, they tell you what you need to know. He doesn't flounce around and stuff. So, and he says that the Midwest is actually going to have a very mild winter, but a big snowstorm. So we'll see. The past couple winters has been very mild here, very mild. But I still remember a winter not that long ago when it did get, the actual temperature was -20, for like several days, even a week or two. It was in the negatives for over like 2 weeks. Mom Computer says, Ryan Hall, y'all is the best. Thank you for the recommendation, Nate. Yes, definitely. Right. See, guys are like, Ryan's a good guy. Oh, yeah. Yep. And he calls his group the Y'all Squad. It's kind of funny. Yeah, I appreciate those kind of channels big time because he does the research. He's got the computer programs. He knows what he's talking about. I mean, much better even than our local weather people. So, yeah. But yeah, guys, it's been a couple of months now, or a month or two maybe now, that I've been doing the milk kefir because you guys were asking me so many questions about it. I was like, you know what? I need to get into making it myself. I've always loved kefir, but I wasn't making it myself. So I got the grains, and it's been about a month and a half or so, and I'm really getting the hang of it now. Every single day, I'm using the raw milk, and I ferment it. It only takes like 12 hours. It just takes like 12 to 24 hours, and then I strain it out, and this is doing the second ferment right now. And that's when I usually will put it in the refrigerator, and that's when it gets nice and thick. And then right before I eat it, I will put some raw honey or some maple syrup and a dash of cardamom and drink it. It is so delicious. Oh my goodness. And I'm loving it. What it does for the digestion and everything, even though I have fantastic digestion and all that, it can always just get better, There's like no end to it. So I highly recommend it. The milk kefir. And there will be a video coming soon, but I want to make sure that I know all the ins and outs of it. So it'll probably be like midwinter or something because I want to make sure that, because I want to have several months under my belt of it. So even though I'm pretty sure I've got it down by now, but yeah, you can't just start doing something and make a video about it. Yeah, Big Will Dog says Indiana hasn't had a polar vortex winter in a while, but we're due for one soon. Yeah, it feels like it. I know. I always tell people this is the fake north, meaning that we can get southern summers where our summers can be like southern summers where it's hot and humid and just oppressively muggy and stuff. Not quite like New Orleans and stuff, but we can also get northern winters. Not always, but sometimes we can get really harsh winters as well. So, Big West says, what's the flavor? Tangy, sour, sweet? Tangy. I would say mostly tangy. But then when I add the maple syrup or the honey, it's a tangy and sweet. It is so delicious. And so, because many of you know, I do what is now called intermittent fasting, but where I just only eat dinner, basically. I eat a massive dinner. And other than that, I pretty much don't eat anything throughout the day, but I will have about a liter, that's a quart for us in America, of the raw milk kefir, definitely. And, ooh yeah, Lisa T's talking, says, I love to add raw egg yolks to that cinnamon kefir. Oh my goodness. Just the yolks? Or just the yolks? What about the white? You add the white? Oh. Eggs. Why didn't I not think of that? I eat raw eggs all the time, but that is going to be delicious in the morning. Oh my goodness. Yeah, so it's not technically intermittent fasting because there's tons of proteins and fats and carbohydrates and all of that in this. It's just liquid, but I mean, I'm feeling just fantastic. So I can't, that's really the way that everyone's like, well, does it do anything for you? I'm like, well, obviously. I mean, it must. It's all it's a comprehensive program. It's not just one thing. Oh, just start taking raw milk kefir and everything will become better. No, it's a comprehensive program. You're taking the raw milk kefir. You are growing your own herbs and making teas from that you drink throughout the day. You're growing your own food, potatoes, nutrient-rich stuff. Your diet is high in the alliums, the garlic and onions. Yes. So your diet's on point. Your hydration's good. You're eating the raw beef liver, maybe the raw bone marrow. but you're also doing the practices like the cold training and the sauna therapy and the breathing practices. It's all comprehensive. And between all those practices, you're just guaranteed to feel amazing because that's the law. That's how it works. So if you guys would like to check out those practices and more of that kind of stuff, that's what we do on the Thrive Like a Viking channel every Monday morning at 10:30 a.m. Eastern time. Okay, Lisa T says yolks only. Okay, I'm gonna try it. Let's see here. Big West says I can make an ice rink in the backyard. Yeah, some winters we get like that. I remember as a kid, people driving cars onto the lakes and stuff. You know, but we haven't had that kind of winter in a long time. Ice skating winter and stuff like that. I haven't seen that in a long time here. But I know we used to have that. Most of the winter used to be snow. Like when I was young, I'm talking 25 years ago, 30 years ago now. Idzai Mubaiwa says, thank you for answering my question on fertilizing garlic. I will be on it this year. I will give you my feedback later. Good, thank you. The feedback is very important, guys. So thank you for that. Yes. Mick, $20. There you are, consistently, my friend. Thank you very much for the tip. I appreciate that. So see, the tips from you guys and all the support and stuff, that's what enables me to do things like just go on and buy the grains. You know, it's like, well, you know what? I need to do this because I need to have this experience. I need to be able to tell you guys about the kefirs and stuff. So let me just go online and buy the highest quality grains that I can find. And that's what like the donations and stuff, that's what they allow me to do. And that's what I do with them. And so that we can then, now we'll know, you know, and by this time next year, I'll be an expert on making this stuff. And so, because I'm doing it every single day, 3 gallons of raw milk a week now, 2 weeks. I get it every 2 weeks, and I've been getting 3 gallons of the raw milk, and it's just been fantastic, you know. So thank you, Mick. Where do you buy the grains? I will put a link in the description. So after this video, it is the juicer and the kefir grains. Yes. I can give you mild advice on it, basically what I'm doing, but like I said, it's going to be a couple more months before I can say, okay, I really know what I'm talking about with the kefir, the milk kefir. But it's so fast paced. It's every single day. Here's the thing, guys, with the kefir, once you start brewing the grains, you got to keep it up because they grow. And so now they are so vibrant that it only takes like 12 hours before the whole thing is starting to separate. And, so you got to like keep it growing, you know, they don't really like take a break. So, yes, Wes, you can make labs with raw goat milk. Absolutely. You can. But what people were asking me is, they were like, hey, my separation of the kefir, and, they were like, what do you do with the kefir whey, the separation? Is that the same as the labs? And, so I didn't know the answer to that question. Even though I know theoretically or technically the microorganisms are very different from the labs. But now I'm realizing that you shouldn't be pouring off the whey. You just mix it. You just shake it back up really good, get it back in there, and then pour it into here. This has got the whey and everything in it because that's what you want. Why would you be pouring off the whey? The whey has got proteins in it. There are all kinds of good stuff and microorganisms, and so you don't pour off the whey. I feel like so far, a month and a half into it, 30 batches of it or whatever. My opinion is if you're pouring off the whey, you're doing it wrong. So that's my opinion and my experience. Oh, definitely. Mobius says, then you can sell the grains, part of the merch. Yeah, well, guys, I'm getting an Amazon store, so I signed up for the Amazon store and stuff. So everything that I use is all going to be like, you can just go to the Amazon store and you'll see all the stuff available if you want to get it. Because I've already sourced it out. I've already made sure that it's good. You won't be seeing stuff like this on there, these wax scissors that you already know about. But you will be seeing stuff like this on here. This thing was my trusty companion for years in the mountain. The K-Bar, guys, look how well worn, man. I wore this thing every day. Because the mountains are kind of wild in Northern California. So this is a phenomenal piece of equipment. Mostly for like well, when you're living in the mountains, things are just very different. So it's a good companion. We can say this. So the K-bar will be in there. Yes, definitely. What else will be in there is this tool, which is phenomenal. The OHT, the Leatherman OHT. What I like about it is it's one-handed operation. Look, just boom, go like that. So when you're holding something, you're like, oh, I need the pliers. One-handed operation is huge, guys. Hugely important. And remember, I'm not sponsored by anybody except you guys. So this is all just stuff that I'm using. And I love good quality equipment, you know, because I've floundered around with subpar equipment for many years. But now I refine all of the, this thing is so useful. Popping off zip ties or cutting plastic. I cut miles of plastic, greenhouse stuff with this in California. So it's all that kind of stuff, guys. So, okay. Oh, man, look, 95 minutes already. All right. Let me just show you one more time in case you guys missed it. Look how beautiful this stuff is, okay? Swiss chard. Don't get hung up if you got holes in the leaves and stuff like that. Big West says, I always wanted a US K-bar. Oh, yeah. Maybe I should sell them with a little bit of Viking signature in it or something. That would be cool. So the Swiss chard, super beautiful, guys. The beets, remember, I just want to remind you of this. This is the bull's blood beet. Very good, nourishing. Although my mom says it tastes like dirt. What she really means is that it tastes like earth minerals. And it's got a long taproot, okay? Very good, delicious. But if you're only growing one beet from now on, grow the Solyndra, okay? Grow the Solyndra, super sweet and tender. And good for juicing, but just delicious. I just can't get over it. So, yeah, that's what you want to do is grow you the beets and see how long the taproot is. So I think that's everything, guys. It's, good hanging out with you. Oh, yeah, one more thing, guys. Here's a great gift. Cut your pothos plants, root them for a couple of weeks, and plant them in these little things from Menards. It's like $5. And they're hanging. They got strings, a rope that comes with it. People love these. At least I think they do, because I've been giving them away for gifts. And they all just come from your pothos. And so you just cut them, and this is a baby of the big mother pothos. And I give these out as gifts. So you got $5 in it, you know. Or if you're buying the soil, maybe another $1. Or not even that. Maybe another like 25 cents. So they're a great thing to give out, okay? And I think that about does it, guys. Thank you very much for hanging out. This was a good one. If you guys want to get a hold of me, you can do it on Instagram. You can do it through the Garden Like a Viking email, but limit the question. Don't ask me any questions unless it's business inquiry on the emails. Questions can go in the comments of these videos. That's what we want to do, okay? So if you want to send something to me, which many of you have, and I'm super grateful, thank you very much. Garden Like a Viking at P.O. Box 9101, Fort Wayne, Indiana, 46899, and I will get it. And if you want me to open it on the live stream, write open on live, like that. And I will open it right here, and it's kind of a trip when you do something like that, and something that you sent, and you're watching me through this medium. It's kind of trippy. It's like, man, we are in Star Wars technology. It's just crazy. So, okay, my friends. Oh, yeah, Harvesting Faith. I forgot about that. Can you make a video about how you make your fermented mustard? Yes, I'm going to do it. It's going to be a short. The video is going to be a short. Okay, so look for that because I know not many people are going to be interested in that as a long form video. So it's going to be in a short, but yes, I will do that. Super delicious. Super delicious. And guys, I go through these, I go through at some point during the week. I will replay it and kind of skim through the questions a little bit. So even if I didn't respond to them, I often can see them, still. And sometimes I'll catch a donation like Taida, $10. Thank you very much, my friend. Says, thanks for your time today. It was a good chat. Yes, it definitely was. And guys, you can check out her Instagram account, definitely, Taida. She does beautiful henna. So, yeah, if you want inspiration, you can. And I know beautiful henna because I traveled in India 3 separate expeditions. And I've seen it. And I know she's very talented. So that's pretty cool. And I will see you on Monday, Taida. And the short and the long of it. Okay, guys. We will talk to you later. We will see you next Saturday here at 12 noon Eastern time, and we will see you Thrive Vikings, Monday at 10:30 a.m. Eastern time, where we're going to have the introduction to the breathing techniques. That's right. This week we'll do the 10-minute guided meditation, and then we will introduce the breathing techniques. So it is super beneficial and wonderful. You want to get in on that, okay? So we'll see you there.